This hearing quickly turns into one of the most personal and politically explosive confrontations involving Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, as Representative Jared Moskowitz presses her not just on policy failures, but on leadership, accountability, and the influence of longtime Trump ally Corey Lewandowski inside the Department of Homeland Security.
Exhausted.
No, not at all. I think we're setting records like Mr. Biggs and now the gentleman from California. You're gonna go for the record?
If I'm being honest, I threw out 50 of them.
God bless you. Let's go. So let's get started.
All right. A Vox article, the mess that Kristi Noem made.
Without objection.
Times article, Noem's spending rule causes delays at Homeland Security.
Without objection.
Politico, vote to overhaul FEMA canceled after leaked report.
Without objection.
ProPublica, Kristi Noem misled Congress about top aide's role at DHS.
Without objection.
The Hill, Trump approval rating on immigration at record low.
Without objection.
Wall Street Journal, pilot fired over Kristi Noem's missing blanket.
Without objection.
CNN article, sources describe how Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem's Gucci bag was stolen under her chair.
Without objection.
New York Times, late night is distracted by Kristi Noem's oversized hats. That one's my favorite. And a Times article, some Republicans join calls for DHS Secretary Kristi Noem to step down.
Without objection.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate your indulgence. Before I begin, first let me say to the families that are still here, I am very sorry for your loss. I watched parents in my hometown of Parkland bury their kids after the shooting at my high school at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, and I can't tell you that it was an out-of-body experience, and there's nothing like burying a child. So I am deeply sorry for your loss. Madam Secretary, welcome. Good afternoon. Thomas Massey mentioned Ron DeSantis' response during COVID. Well, you're looking at the guy who ran that response. I was the Director of Emergency Management for the state of Florida. For Republican governor, I worked with the Trump FEMA administration during the Category 5 Hurricane Michael recovery. That Trump's FEMA was great. We got expedited reimbursement, a program that you got rid of or threatened to get rid of. And the Panhandle had one of the greatest responses after that Category 5 storm. The president said he wanted to reform FEMA, but that's not what you did. You basically destroyed the agency. Largest FEMA backlog in the history of FEMA. My state of Florida is owed $2.5 billion. You have delayed the FEMA disaster declarations even when the applicants meet FEMA's statutory threshold under the Stafford Act. You want states to do more, yet you want to cut the EMPG program, which grants them funding to build capacity. Your office was involved in discussions of moving FEMA to Texas. You created a rule of anything over $100,000 has to come to your desk, a rule that has slowed down FEMA reimbursement, FEMA response. We have empty regional offices. You have done the opposite of what President Trump wanted to accomplish, which was to speed up the process. Your policies have made the department slower. I didn't think it was possible to make FEMA more bureaucratic, but boy, you have exceeded all my expectations. In the Texas floods, you didn't put the urban search and rescue crews on the road for 72 hours. Days later, the FEMA urban search and rescue chief resigned in protest. You hired 2 people as the administrator with no FEMA experience. We're on our 3rd history of the department. Has that ever happened? The president took presidential action to create the FEMA Council. I supported it. You opposed the FEMA Council. You delayed its beginning. The report has still not come out. The White House canceled your last council meeting and has held up the release of the report. But surprise, I have it. I have it. I want to thank the former FEMA employees that you fired who gave this to me. This report's never been seen in public before, okay? But this is it. This was the report. It was 122 pages, the original draft report. You and Corey Lewandowski then took the report and made it 23 pages. You cut out all the stuff that was put in by governors who had been through disasters, emergency management directors, FEMA experts, national security experts. You cut it all out. It's all gone. That's why the report's not been released. It's sitting in the White House trying to figure out this mess that you created. So instead of getting the recommendations we need, now we have nothing. You've called Corey Lewandowski a special government employee. I understand what government means. I understand what employee means, okay? But I don't know what makes him special. Now, I want to give you an opportunity to answer on the record to Ms. Kamlager-Dove's question. I know you said it's garbage, and it may be, but I really think you need to say the word no into the record so that you can clear that up.
I think the ridiculousness of this and the tabloids that you are quoting and referencing are insane, and this has been something that I've refuted for years, and I continue to do that.
So it's a no.
What I would tell you is,
we can move on. Hold on,
what you're doing,
we can move on. I'm not going to belabor it.
This is what you do.
Hold on, I'm not doing anything.
Liberal left is you go off and you attack conservative women, and you say that we're either stupid or we're sluts.
All right, so listen.
And that's what you do.
Yesterday, Richard, reclaiming my time, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, reclaiming my time. You were asked by Richard Blumenthal yesterday. You were asked by Richard Blumenthal yesterday if Corey was involved in approving contracts. You said no. Do you want to correct that?
What I would say is that he has an advisor to the Department of Homeland Security, has no decision-making authority.
Do you want to correct it, yes or no? You don't want to correct it? Fine. Hold on, not a problem. According to one of the FEMA administrators that you fired, there is nothing, including contracts, that is brought to you that he hasn't reviewed. In fact, a significant amount of DHS internal routing documents has his signature on it above deputy secretaries. Okay? That former FEMA administrator wasn't fired by you, the secretary. He was fired by Corey. It was Corey that called him into your office. It was Corey that made him to submit to a polygraph test. The $100,000 spending rule that you created that comes to your desk, you're not even sitting at your desk. It's Corey who's sitting there. ISIS said the Republicans should be happy at the job that you're doing. Really? You're looking at the person who single-handedly took the president's signature core issue, immigration, the issue that got him elected from 59% to 39%. 200 miles of border walls being held up by you. They had to bring in Tom Homeland, pull out of Minnesota. I think the country needs a national divorce from you on biblical grounds. I mean, if Donald Trump was still Apprentice Trump, he would look at you and he would realize you're the weakest cabinet member and he would fire you. And if the president said to you that only way DHS could reopen is if you resigned, I hope you would take him up on it. Now, I want to end on a happy note, Mr. Chairman, real quickly. The president gave all sorts of stuff out during the State of the Union. I don't want you to leave. I got you a new Coast Guard blankie, the one you lost. Okay, so this is for you. You don't leave empty-handed when you come to judiciary. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
The gentleman has expired. The gentleman from Missouri is recognized.
Before the fireworks begin, Moskowitz takes a deeply human moment to acknowledge grieving families in the room, reflecting on his experience after the tragedy at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland. That moment matters because it grounds what follows in something bigger than partisan politics. Government decisions affect real people, especially during disasters and emergencies. Then the tone shifts dramatically. Moskowitz, who previously served as Florida's emergency management director under Republican leadership, argues that FEMA's mission under Noem has become slower, more bureaucratic, and less effective. He points to delayed disaster aid, backlogged reimbursements, staffing shortages, and concerns over response times during emergencies like catastrophic flooding. From a Democratic perspective, the criticism is straightforward. Government agencies exist to help people during crisis, and when disaster response slows down, families waiting for aid are the ones who pay the price. But the exchange becomes even more explosive when Moskowitz raises questions about Lewandowski's role inside DHS. He accuses Noem of allowing an unelected advisor to wield extraordinary behind-the-scenes influence, questioning whether Lewandowski reviewed contracts, personnel decisions, and internal department operations despite not being publicly accountable in the same way Senate-confirmed officials are. Noem strongly rejects the broader allegations and dismisses rumors surrounding their relationship, arguing critics are relying on gossip and political attacks rather than facts. What viewers should understand is that beneath the heated rhetoric lies a larger issue about government oversight and power. Congress is not only supposed to examine policies, it is also supposed to ask who is making decisions and whether authority is being exercised transparently. If advisors who were never elected or confirmed are shaping billion-dollar agencies, lawmakers have a responsibility to ask how much power they actually hold and who answers for the results. The hearing ends with sharp sarcasm and political theater, but the bigger question remains serious. Who is really steering major federal agencies? And are Americans getting the leadership and accountability they deserve during moments of crisis? Watch the exchange closely and decide for yourself. If government accountability, disaster response, and political oversight matter to you, like, subscribe, and join the conversation below.